Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to the brand new O.N.E.T.A Adventure Show brought to you by PTE Creative. I am your guide along for this adventure. My name is Evan Davies, and I'm happy to have you join me. Now, on this show, as you can see from the lovely thumbnail, we are going to be venturing to Acadia National Park in Bar Harbor, Maine. However, because it's the first show, I just want to do a little bit of basis about the show before we get to today's adventure. If you need to skip ahead, I get it. You want to get to the main thing, but I highly suggest you listen to this quick. So, in this show, I'm going to be talking about my personal experiences on travels, on adventures. I'm sharing those things. One lovely person in my life gave me the push I needed to start adventuring again in life, and now it's the thing I look forward to the most. That's kind of what I want to do for someone. If I inspire even one person with some of the things I'm sharing to go find that adventure, and understand that the world is not in your books and maps, it's out there, as the wise voice said. I'd love to do that. So, in this show, no matter where it is, who it is, we're going to be always including hikes that we love, experiences that we had, and notes from our personal travels. And all the pictures that you're going to see within the video are all from my personal archive, or if there's ever a guest host, it's going to be personal archives to them. Anytime it is not, it's someone. 95% of the time, it's me. 4.9% of the time, it is somebody who I have a deep personal connection with that was most likely on the same adventure I was, or went and did it after I did it or before I did it. They just have the best picture to capture the moment that we're talking about. If I ever use an outside source photo, it's always going to be put as an outside source and a thank you for them. And that'll only happen if I don't have exactly what I need to show you what I want to show you guys. Now, quick background on me. I've been to 22 national parks across the entire U.S. in every corner of the country, the mainland, as I can possibly go at this point. And I've been to over 90 national park sites at this moment, and a bunch of state parks, county parks, wilderness areas, really cool places that I cannot wait to share with you guys. So if you're ever inspired to do this, just know I've been there. I remember when I was at 0 and then I hit 1, and it was a big thing for me. Hope you hit 1 too. But without further ado, let's get to it and head over to Acadia National Park. Let's go. So the first entry I wanted to show you is actually this photo right here. Here, we're to the Acadia National Park. I took this on a road trip. I currently live in Philly. It was one of the first road trips I did out of Philly. So I went from Philly up to Massachusetts, then went to Acadia National Park, then went to actually Katahdin Woods and Waters, which is a really, really cool remote section of Maine. And then came back down through Lowell, Massachusetts, which has a National Historic Park to it, which is really cool, back to Philly. When you are entering Acadia National Park, there is an entry fee. But I highly recommend if you're going to be somebody who's going to go to more than one national park site, or one of the lovely, just any, and I say national park site because there are over 500 of them, I believe, or at least 400 in the country. Many of them do require an entry fee. So if you have, I highly recommend the $80 America the Beautiful annual pass. It obviously goes to a great cause, which is the National Park Service. But then your entry fees across the country, no matter where you go, are paid. It's well worth it, and it's great, great times. And there's things all around you that will enlighten you. So I highly recommend that pass. However, we're to the hikes now. So the first one I wanted to mention is this hike right here is called the Beehive Loop. It's 1.5 miles. It's qualified as hard on all trails. All trails, by the way, it is an app that is absolutely wonderful, and I highly recommend it. Archives over, uh, it's got to be tens of thousands of wonderful, wonderful hikes across the country. So when you first open it, it looks something like this. It is absolutely wonderful, and it'll give you nearby hikes, but then you can look up specific hikes and places to go. And all of the hikes that I highlight in all of my videos are on all trails, unless it just does not exist on all trails, which is very rare. Back to it though, and by the way, you can friend me on all trails, and you can see the personal hikes I've been on, so you know what I've been on if you want to experience the same things. So this right here is the Beehive Loop, as I stated before. It's about a mile and a half. I think it's actually a little bit more than that by the way I went. What's really cool about this is you actually climb certain rungs up the mountain to get to certain places. The rungs are only about 6 to 8 feet high, maybe as high as 10 feet. But I could understand if someone has a fear of heights that wouldn't work for them. But I truly believe it really is not all that hard, and unless you are deathly afraid of something like that, you'll be okay because there is a firm base underneath you that's wide enough that even if you were to slip and fall, there's no way you're going to fall off the side of the mountain. You are going to be okay. I also wouldn't recommend this to someone with shoulder injuries. And I'm talking about like significant ones where they take away your range of motion or something like that, simply because you do have to do a bit of climbing up the rungs from time to time. However, it is a highly rewarding hike right away. It's a very high yield hike and a great introductory hike into the park. It's pretty close into the park immediately once you get inside. Um, it it gives you great panoramic views of the entire park, but specifically the oceanside views. And I intentionally left those out because I'm going to highlight those further on down the show. But great views all the way across, and then you can see this lovely pond that is right next to it, which is why it's called the Beehive Loop, as it considers a lot of bee activity there. The only other note I will give you, besides the fact that it is a very fun and rewarding hike to begin your trek, is this is one of the few hikes across the entire park that can be closed due to, of all things, peregrine falcon mating season, which is about late May to August. I went in, I want to say the second week of August, we were in Acadia, and we did not have that issue. But there are certain trails that were closed at that time due to that. And if anyone wants to laugh about it and say, "Are you kidding me? Trails closed due to mating season?" Peregrine falcon is truly the fastest animal on the planet. If you want to get wrecked by a diving falcon going 100 plus miles an hour down at your head, be my guest. I wouldn't recommend it though. So keep that in mind when you um, Beehive Loop. Next hike I wanted to highlight for you here is actually Jordan Pond. Jordan Pond is qualified as an easy hike, and it is a very easy hike, very family friendly as well. It's 3.1 miles. However, right off of Jordan Pond is also a really cool 1.5 mile loop that you can add to the loop and make it one giant circle. And it's called the South Bubble Mountain Loop. That is a really rewarding part of the hike for someone who's a little more adventurous, and I highly recommend it. One of the really cool things as you're going about the easy route about it is you can find little critters like our friend here, Mr. Frog, on the rocks, and it's a shallower pond with beautiful clear water, so you can see a lot as you're going through on the pond. But like I said, most of it is decked or very easily not paved but well-worn trails that are easy to go to and give you really nice views around the pond, such as this one. Um, and it's just a very enjoyable, nice one. It's something I would recommend to anybody who is not so confident in their hiking abilities, whether that be shape, age, whatever it is. If you're just not confident, Jordan Pond's a great introductory hike for you because it's not. It's pretty flat, but there are some sections where you can get up and down and just get a little bit of blood flowing as well. But the coup de grace for me along this hike was the South Bubble Mountain loop section of it. You get to scramble up some rocks, which is kind of like it's an undefined path. There is a path, but there's not. You're jumping from rock to rock. Nothing death defying. I don't ever want to get that impression, but scrambling is one of my favorite things to do. I always like to highlight it while I can. This is the view from the top of the South Bubble Mountain, getting the whole view of the pond. You start your hike all the way in the top right corner of the pond. So this is exact opposite corner, and you get a great view, and you can even see the ocean in the background. Really fun stuff here. The other really cool part about Jordan Pond as you go back is the Jordan Pond Loop actually starts at one of the most famous attractions in all of Acadia. What's really unique about Acadia is that it actually has a restaurant inside the park, and people who don't know would be like, "What? There's nothing there." Vast majorities of all the parks and national park sites do not have, um, you know, restaurants or anything inside of them. But there's a really truly good, fully functioning restaurant in Acadia National Park. It's called the Jordan Pond House, and it's world famous for their popover pastries. They were good. I wouldn't say they're anything to write home about, but it's kind of a tradition to get a popover. And I'd still recommend the experience because it's fun, but you don't need to wait anything over like 10, 15 minutes for it. If you're going to have to wait like 30 minutes to an hour, just come back at a different time if you can. Finally, we'll be moving to my actually favorite, one of my favorite hikes we've ever done on our travels together, but my favorite hike in Acadia by far. And that is the Cadillac Mountain North Ridge and Gorge Path Loop. Apologies on some of the photos here just because I took them from different angles. This hike is 4.4 miles. It's rated as moderate. I could see a inexperienced hiker finding this to be hard, but it's not due to the elevation gain or anything like that. It's just some of the terrain you're going through, some of the markings on the trail. We went up the gorge path, which is what you're seeing in front of you right now, and we went down the North Ridge Loop. Um, so a side note on that one, parking can be a little bit of an issue there. You'll park if you do it the same way I did, which I would recommend because you're getting the most high yield to start. You get this wonderful, wonderful view once you reach the summit of the mountain, and then you get a completely different way back. So you get three kind of different hike experiences all in one, which is why I recommend this so well. And I personally like having the shade cover as I'm going up versus going down. Why we did it this way. The only thing I will say, if you park at the gorge path, that's not a problem. But the North Ridge Loop is kind of like, or the North Ridge section, it's kind of almost a separate hike by itself. So you may have to walk back up to a quarter of a mile or a little bit more on the actual main road. You're totally safe in a national park, but I always like to point that out just so everyone knows and doesn't freak out. But like I said, this was my favorite hike in all of Acadia. Um, Going up this section just hit my little fantasy heart so much. As I already referenced Lord of the Rings, one of my favorite things about being in the outdoors is just thinking I'm in a fantasy setting. That really, really sets the adventure mode for me. And I adore it. So, in the gorge path, what was really cool is you're going to see rock formations that are really your path all the way up and then can give you like these paved stairwell paths that really make you feel like you are in that fantasy setting. It's a great way to feel lost in nature in all the right ways. In that you're not overwhelmed, you're not frightened, you're in the moment. You're lost away from society. You're in the moment enjoying what this beautiful earth has to give you. That is the coolest part about it to me. As you're going through this very cool section, there's a running river, there's a few small waterfalls, very, very cool section. And then as you're growing in elevation, you're gonna start getting views like this. You're gonna get above the tree line. The mountains are gonna be, you're kind of coming out of a valley. You're gonna see to your far left, take the same path, a great mountain as you see on the left side of this picture with cool rock formations, very cool shots there. And then you're going to keep seeing different rock formations come up. The only thing I would say is it's a little difficult to navigate this one as you get close to this section here because you start just seeing more rock and then you do define a path through forest. But as long as you get to the top, you'll be fine and you can find your way to the top 100 different. Now, once you reach the summit, though, you're going to start seeing beautiful stuff like this. You're going to get panoramic views of the entire park, which is so rewarding. It's so cool. Acadia is so unique because it has that oceanside view and it has the elevation gains that it does right there. It's the only way you're going to get that on the entire East Coast with that ocean view and the elevation, which is why it is such a unique and beloved park in the National Park Service. But you get really cool views of the ocean and the mountains, and you can get it from the city below. As you can believe, I took that shot. I'm seeing a little bit of Bar Harbor, Maine in the shot as well, way off into the distance, and it's a very cool shot to see. But again, you're going to see all these different things as you're going up Cadillac Mountain. So much fun taking that path. And you can see a bunch of different topography and how Acadia really is this beautiful section of a park. Only downside I would say to the Cadillac Mountain, giving you the whole name again, Cadillac Mountain North Ridge and Gorge Path Loop, is the North Ridge Path section. There's a very little natural cover. There's very little natural canopy. You're going down a rockier path. You're not going down a forested path. So be prepared with sunscreen. Be prepared for water. Don't try to do something crazy with no water, with no sunscreen. You will get burnt up and fried to a crisp for the vast majority of that hike. So you want to be prepared for that. It was just a hotter day outside, but still, you want to be prepared if you're doing. Now we're going to take our way to some notable locations that in the park that are very worthwhile that no hike is really necessary to get to. First one here is called Echo Lake. Echo Lake is probably, in my opinion, the best place to swim. It's freshwater lake, so you don't have to deal with saltwater or anything like that. And you're going to get this wonderful 360 panoramic view, as you can kind of see from this is the left side of the lake from the beach section, but the entire about half of the entire lake is available to sit on and swim from. It's absolutely gorgeous. Very cool place to get lost. It's a very popular place to swim and take a lot of great photos as you're. Next place I'd love to take you. Actually, another place I want to take you is called the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse, which you're going to see in just a second. One of the cool parts about Acadia is there's a bunch of these little freshwater lakes, very cool places to stop and just go. I included this one here just beyond the fact that I just love the shot with the vegetation in it. And it gives you a unique perspective into what Acadia is like. The road to Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse is very cool as you can just stop at a billion different little places and really enjoy the park for all that it is. So on the way, it's a really enjoyable ride. And the lighthouse itself is on the far end of the park where not many people actually go. Here's a shot of the lighthouse in the distance. You can see my lovely wife giving me her best Faith Plus One um, rock album cover cameo that she can right here. As we like to say, our band photos. But um, gives you a bit of a thing. You're going to see a lot of marine fog coming in at certain parts of the day, which is absolutely awesome to get with the lighthouse. And you can see why the lighthouse was so important. There's on these very cool rock formations. I highly encourage you. You're going to see when you first get there a small little hike just to get, or a small little walk. It's not even a hike. Small walk to just get to the front half of the lighthouse. And you're like, oh, what's this? If you don't take the back part, which don't be afraid to just walk around the building. There is a back walk, and this is how you get this shot, and it's far more fun, far more impressive because this is one of the iconic shots of Acadia. I get it. My wife is not a part of all the iconic shots of Acadia, but this specific angle of the lighthouse with the rock formations, with the water, with everything coming in, this shot is one of the iconic shots of Acadia. You can't get it unless you take the back path. So I highly recommend doing that just to get a nice little break from some stuff. Really enjoy the park. Now, if you want to swim oceanside, you're going to go to what is called Sand Beach. And you may be saying, is truly that what they call it? Yes, that is what they call it, Sand Beach. This photo is taken from the far end of the beach, and that's actually my favorite part because it's far more rocky and explorer like. You can just climb on the rocks and enjoy yourself. But if you're just trying to get a place to chill by the ocean and go to the beach, it's not the greatest beach of all time, but it does the trick. And it's a fun place to just explore. It's a really fun, nice walk. The walk from parking to the beach can be a little long, but to me, it's overall worth it. And plus, you're in a national park. Nothing's going to be absolutely perfect parking wise outside of just trailheads that are ideally placed. But highly recommend that as you go. And then the final place I want to talk about, it's one of the attractions is called Thunder Hole. So I don't have a great shot of the actual Thunder Hole itself because it's near impossible without a boat to get a great shot of the Thunder Hole. But it's a natural attraction in the park that makes a booming sound when the tide comes in at the right height and speed. But it's a great place to just begin playing on the rocks and all the rock formations and getting great shots of the ocean as you see here. Really fun place to just explore. let your mind wander and enjoy and get really, really cool shots of everything as you go forward. One of the best parts about the national parks is it's so welcoming to so many people. I keep saying best shots. I'm not a photographer. I take this so I can share these ideas. I've been wanting to do a national park blog or something like it for since I first started going to national parks in 2018, and I've just always taken this as an archive shot. But I'm not a photographer. I don't enter these in competitions. I don't sell these or anything like that. Maybe I will in the future, but like I don't think I'm the greatest world photographer. I'm just trying to share memories and moments with you guys, which is why I do these things. But you attract photographers, you attract bird watchers, you attract hikers, you attract campers, all kinds of people, just run of the mill people that want to see cool stuff in the national parks. And that's one of the most welcoming things. And that's why I love shots like this, where you go to an attraction, but the attraction's cool, but the added ambiance around it makes it far better. As we transition to some travels that are right outside the park there, I just want to let you know that if you want to take anything with you to the park, totally get it. But I'd ask you to come on over to my Etsy shop. It's ptecreative.etsy.com. Right here, you're going to get some awesome items. I do have some Pokemon centric stuff, but I have a lot of just basic national park stuff that I'd love to share with a little Yosemite sticker or the Trail is Home sticker. You can take your home state anywhere you want to with some of the stickers that I have. And also some cool fantasy setting stickers like Harry Potter or Pokemon or Power Rangers. There's all kinds of stuff coming to the Etsy shop. So if you'd like to take a visit, I would love for you to do that. It's ptcreative.etsy.com. Now, the other thing, if you go and use it, go use this promo code. As part of the celebration of returning to my Pokemon project, I have created the promo code BLISS. Sale ends March 13th, 2024, but use the promo code BLISS on any order of 2 items or more, and you're going to get 20% off your order. That is a thank you for anyone to come enjoy their time in the national parks with a cool sticker from yours. Back to it. Outside the park is a very interesting place. You're going to be staying most likely in a place called Bar Harbor, Maine, which is a kitschy little town that is quite fun and enjoyable, but it is certainly tourist. Really fun, adventurous things that you can do is you can go to the sandbar of Bar Harbor, and it's a sandbar that appears and disappears with the tides. And it's a really cool place to just kind of catch crabs by hand and just walk. Be careful of the crabs, though. My brother did get a little bit of a nick, but it's fun just to try to do and say you did it. And we also took a sea kayaking tour around some of the islands of Bar Harbor, right off the coast in the mainland. And that was really, really fun. And we did that through coastal kayaking tours. Great place to go. They take care of you well, and really enjoyed their tour. And it's really fun to see kayak and get a completely different perspective than what you've been getting on the mainland through the hiking and parks like that. You get to see a completely different view. You get a stretch down the coastline of it as well. And some just basic important notes for you going through. Like I said, the nearest town to the park is Bar Harbor, Maine. That's going to be the vast majority of where visitors are going to stay. Um, we personally stayed at a hotel called the Bar Harbor Grand Hotel. It's a nice little place. Did the trick. Nothing super fancy, but it was fun. But we enjoyed it. Your food and resources there are readily available in town. It's a perfectly fully functioning town. It's not like a traditional town outside of a national park that has little to nothing in it. Um, Very easy. Very, very easy to get whatever you need there. I will say there's a few decent restaurants in town, but it's nothing wowed me to the point where I'm like, whoa, I gotta tell somebody about this. But it's fun. Like I said, though, it's very, very kitschy and touristy. So it's a fun place to explore, but once you've seen a couple of the shops, you've probably seen. Um, but it's a fun little place to just explore and enjoy. And it's a really nice, easy, welcoming town. They're used to all kinds of people coming, and it's very, very enjoyable to be in. Enjoy that. However, if you do want to stay outside of town, there are plenty of Airbnbs and other things like that. And if you want to stay in the park, there's three different. There's really three campgrounds. There's technically four, but you need to have livestock animals like horses to camp there. But there's three different campgrounds to go and stay in the park. However, there is no um, backpacking style camping where you're just going out in the backcountry. That's not allowed in any Acadia. So if you're going to do that, you have to stay in a campground at Acadia. That is all of my news and notes here for Acadia National Park. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of the ride. I'm gonna let you know next week on the show we're gonna be talking about Death Valley National Park, completely opposite coast, out in California and Nevada, in a completely different landscape than Acadia. Now remember, go check out the Etsy shop if you can. It really helps me, my artistic endeavors as much as possible, and everybody that contributes to the channel. I really appreciate it. Use that promo code BLISS for 20% off any order of 2 items or more up until March 13th. And what if you could hit the bell right under the show so you can get all the show notifications, and like, comment, subscribe, and share as much as you can. It helps the channel grow. It helps me share these moments with everybody else. Get new cool stuff. And as always, remember, it's Death Valley week next week, so we're going to Death Valley National Park, going there for our show. However, I want to say thank you as always for watching. It is so awesome to finally be getting to realize a dream and talk about national parks with everybody on YouTube in this wonderful, wonderful format. Or if you get it in a podcast form wherever else, glad to have you here. Thank you so much for listening. Peace, love, and hugs to all of you. Bye bye.